How long was it when you left the Nets before you started working with Woj?
So when I left the net, well, when they told me not to come back,
Yeah.
when my contract wasn't renewed and I had an option left, I had a year left with them, I really just kind of took a month off. And I give Woj was my big break and everything, but I always kind of go back and give credit to Marc Stein because Marc was at the ESPN back then, and he got me my first in as far as doing TV. And I had never in just dealing with Marc, but I had never dealt with. But I just kept on calling people, and I said, "Listen, I'm getting paid for a year. I'm getting bored. I was a month in. The draft was coming around, free agency, and Marc kind of got me in as far as doing some TV work. But it was really like just going on social media and breaking down how trades happen. That's kind of my foray into the media world as far as how things kind of started with me. And then as I said, I saw Woj on the concourse in Vegas. He's like, I really like what you're doing. And I think you'd be really good with our group and you give us a front office perspective. And it was like, but you got to write. I'm like, what? 140 characters? No, like that doesn't work anymore. And he's like, no, you actually have to write like 2,000 word articles and stuff. And I was like, oh my God, I got to figure that part out. And I had never done that before. Fortunately for me, I got 2 freelance articles with Hoops Hype, working with them before I actually started with the vertical at Yahoo. And my first article was how Golden State can sign Kevin Durant. This was a year before they actually went out and signed him.
Yeah.
And that was my first foray. And fortunately for me, my wife's a school teacher, and she kind of started the paragraph and showed me how to write in the middle and the conclusion. I always have nightmares when I have an assignment due, just because of like I'm not Zach Lowe, or I'm not Brian Windhorst or Ramona Shelburne or Woj or Tim Bontemps. I didn't go to school to study journalism and everything like that. So but yeah, that was kind of my, certainly Marc got me a big break, and then certainly Woj hired me at Yahoo, got me my first break into the media world.
And then Woj brought you to ESPN with him?
Yeah, so it was funny. Like when we were at Yahoo, it was like this band of like 8 of us, versus the 40 at ESPN, right? Like it was like this band of, and we were doing streaming on yahoo.com, and we were doing draft shows and the free agency shows, and we basically could put out content. And John Kozner, who was at ESPN at the time, approached there was a group of us, and he's like, we really want you guys, like we want the group to come. And some of us could come because of our ESPN, Yahoo allowed us out of our contract. Some of us had to stay and everything. But yeah, that's kind of that's the break as far as the transition from Yahoo to ESPN.